Hello everyone, this is Krishna Priya. Welcome back. So today we are going to look at the difference between transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. Well, you might already know this. Verbs can be classified into many different categories based on the function of a verb and the placement of a verb in a sentence. So today we are going to look at one such classification, transitive and intransitive. Well, it's not a big deal at all. The classification depends on an object in a sentence. Well, how do we define that? Well, first I'll give you the definition of a transitive verb and an intransitive verb, and then we'll discuss. Okay, great. Fine. So a transitive verb is a verb that needs an object. That needs an object. Got it? And an intransitive verb is a verb that does not need an object. That does not need an object. Got it so far? Fine. Now the question is, why does a transitive verb need an object in a sentence and why does an intransitive verb not need an object in a sentence? Well, a transitive verb needs an object to make a sentence more sensible or completely meaningful. Okay? Completely meaningful. Sorry for my slow writing there. So, a transitive verb needs an object to make the sentence completely meaningful. And an intransitive verb, you must have guessed it, an intransitive verb does not need an object to make the sentence meaningful. Now, how do we explain that? Well, let me give you an example. Fine. So, I'm just giving a sentence, or I'm just saying a sentence to you guys. And my sentence is, I broke. Okay? That's what I'm saying. That's the only thing that I say. Well, when I say that, hey, I broke, well, I'm not saying that the phrase I broke is grammatically wrong or anything of that sort. It's just that when I say I broke, you still are not sure, right? You would be asking something in return. And what are you thinking right now? Absolutely. You're thinking, but she broke what? Right? Because broke or the base verb being break can mean so many things. You can break so many things. So it's important I explain to you what I broke. In other words, in this sentence, you really need an object to make the sentence completely meaningful. So if I say, hey, I broke a promise, then that's great. You understand the sentence. It is meaningful in itself, right? And I broke a promise is different from I broke a vase, right? Or if I say that I broke a man's spirit. So these are completely different sentences. And the difference lies in me saying the object. Got it? Because break can mean so many things. The verb break can mean so many things. So in this context, the word break is a transitive verb because it needs an object to make complete sense. Got it? Now, with intransitive verb, if I give you a sentence, I slept peacefully. Okay, I slept peacefully. Now, when I say I slept, the verb being sleep or slept, are you confused as to what I slept? No, right? Because the verb sleep is meaningful in itself. It does not need an object to make sense. You cannot sleep anything else. You just simply sleep, right? So in this case, the verb sleep does not need an object to make complete sense. Then such a verb is what you call intransitive verb. And it is as simple as that. But having said that, the verbs that you know as transitive verbs can very well be intransitive in other contexts. Well, are you confused by that statement? Let's look at another example. I give you a sentence, I ran. Fine. I simply say I ran or I ran fast. Okay. I'm just writing a sentence like this. I ran fast. When I say that I ran fast, you're not confused. You get what I'm meaning. In this case, the verb ran does not need an object to make sense. You will not ask you ran what fast. No, that sentence is meaningful in itself, right? So in this case, I ran fast, ran. Do you know what sort of a verb it is if it does not need an object? Absolutely. Ran is an intransitive verb in this context. But if I write a sentence like this, I ran a business. If my sentence is like this, I ran a business. Well, in this case, I explain to you what I ran. I'm explaining to you what or the object in question, right? So in this sentence, ran is a transitive verb. Do you get it? So try not to learn that verbs can be classified to transitive and intransitive. No, you should say it this way. Verbs can be used transitively and intransitively. Okay, so a word like ran, a verb like ran can be a transitive verb or can be an intransitive verb based on the sentence. Is that clear now? Now, the easiest way to identify a transitive verb, just two things. One, you will see an object next to it. Two, you can ask the question verb what or verb who. Got it? Say, for example, I say I broke a vase. The same example. Fine. You take the verb and then you ask, okay, someone is asking you, hey, is break a transitive verb in that or is it an intransitive verb? Then all you need to ask yourself is, I broke what or I broke who? Ask that question. And do you see the answer of that question? So when I say I broke what, can I see the answer to that question? Can I see the object in the statement? Well, then that is a transitive verb. Fine. But if I say I broke down, simply ask the question, I broke what? Does down answer the question? No, down is not an object there, right? Therefore, here in this sentence, broke is an intransitive verb. Is that clear? So the easiest way to identify a transitive verb is to look for an object that makes sense to the verb. Okay, and the second one is to ask the question, I met what or I met who. If you can see the answer in the sentence, then there you have it. That is a transitive verb. And it is as simple as that. Is that clear now? That is all. Thank you so much for watching.